Both parties the words are simple. Give me that which you already have, but do not yet know about. It sounds harmless, strange even. Why not just ask for money for someone as desperate and poor as your father? This law of surprise seems like it's not a big deal, but he's very, very wrong. The Witcher nodded and disappeared into the night, and your father went home, thinking he'd just gotten away with something. But when he arrived, your mother told him she was pregnant. She'd only just realized it herself. Your father's blood ran cold. He had something he didn't know about. An unborn child, Thanks to the law of surprise, you had been claimed before you even existed. 7 years pass, you grow up on the farm, chasing chickens, helping with small chores, sleeping warm and safe in your family's house. You have no idea what's coming. Then one day a stranger arrives at your door. Your father recognizes him immediately. He's the Witcher who saved his life 7 years ago. The Witcher looks at you, then at your father. I've come to claim what's mine, he says. Your father's face goes pale. Your mother starts crying. You don't understand what's happening. You can feel the tension in the room, the weight of something terrible and unchangeable. The Witcher explains that you were promised to him through the law of surprise. You belong to him now. The law isn't enforced by soldiers or courts. It's enforced by destiny, by tradition, and by the fear of what happens when you break it. They say that refusing the law brings great misfortune, and that one way or another, fate will kill you if you refuse. Your mother considers refusing, but witches have a reputation, and your father owes this man his life. Besides, feeding 3 children is hard enough. The Witcher offers them a small amount of coin, not much but enough to make the winter a little easier. You watch your mother cry as the Witcher takes your hand. You don't want to go. You're 7 years old, and your comfortable life on the farm is over. He takes you north towards the Blue Mountains, leaving behind everything you've ever known. You travel together for weeks, and during the long journey, he explains what you're going to become, and the news doesn't sound good. He tells you the world is crawling with creatures from other dimensions, and your job will be to hunt them down and kill them one by one for the rest of your very long life. But only if you survive. He teaches you how to identify tracks, how to move silently in forests, and most importantly, how to survive when everything wants you dead. And while your life is about to get more complicated, building a real-life business doesn't have to be. Thanks to today's sponsor, Odoo. Odoo is an all-in-one business management software includes a range of apps to help you manage your business easier. Odoo handles everything from accounting to project management, and all in one place. As a soon-to-be Witcher, you're going to need to get clients. He'll pay you to slay monsters and for what's them. The best way to draw in new customers? 1100s, that's right. An awesome website with Odoo's website app. You can create your own site for thanks free to their one app free for life offer. Getting started is easy. Just sign up, hit website, and type the name in. Mine is pleasepaymetokillsomething.odoo.com. The website builder is ridiculously easy. It's all drag and drop. No coding or spell casting needed. Choose your theme and color palette. Then start customizing your site with your own images and videos. You can even grab free visuals straight from the Upsplash library right inside of Odoo, and boom, we're done. This is an actual real-life website you can go to right now. So if you're having any vampire issues, you know where to go. Please pay me to kill something.odoo.com. So click the link in the description to start creating your own website for free with unlimited hosting, unlimited support, and a 1-year free domain name. Thanks again to Odoo for sponsoring this video. He's taking you to Cairnmorn, an ancient fortress in the Blue Mountains of Kedwin that is only accessible by a treacherous mountain path. The climb is cold and dangerous, and you're terrified the entire way. You finally arrive at Kilmainham. It looks impressive, until you realize that this will be your prison for the next few years. When you walk through the courtyard, you see around a dozen other boys, aged from around 7 to 12. Like you, some were given in exchange to pay off a debt, but others were sold by their desperate parents or are orphans who had nowhere else to go. You also see older witches with scars all over their body, fingers burned, and a face with the kind of 1,000-yard stare that comes from seeing too much death. These men will be your mentors. This massive stone fortress is partially ruined and never fully rebuilt. That's because centuries ago, Keeman was attacked by a mob led by magers who feared and despised witches. The fortress was sacked, and most of the witches and apprentices were slaughtered. The School of Wolf, which trains witches here, never fully recovered. Where they used to be hundreds of witches, now there are maybe a dozen old ones left. They only take in a handful of boys every few years. The training begins immediately, and it's beyond anything a child could ever handle. You wake up before dawn every day. Physical conditioning, running up and down mountain paths with weighted packs, combat drills with wooden swords, learning to move silently, and building endurance. The witches who train you are cold and distant. If you can't keep up with combat drills, you get hit hard. You're also taught to read and write, which is actually unusual because most peasants are illiterate. Witches need to read bestsellers and contracts, recognize magical symbols, and understand our chemical formulas. You study monster biology, learning the differences between neckers and drowners, how to identify a bruxa versus a higher vampire, what oils and potions work on what creatures. As a witcher, you have to memorize hundreds of books to know how to hunt and kill every type of monster out there. The training is brutal, and the other boys become your brothers in suffering. You share the same dormitory, eat the same terrible food, and get the same brutal punishments when you fail. Which happens a lot, but it's not the worst part. The worst part is knowing what's coming. You see, witcher training has two phases. First, there's the physical and mental training that lasts for years. You're taught swordsmanship, specifically a witch's style that uses both a steel sword for humans and mundane beasts, and a silver sword for monsters born or altered by magic. You also learn alchemy, how to brew potions and oils from monster parts and herbs. But all of this is just preparation for the second phase, the trial of the grasses. It's a deadly, inhumane, and downright evil rite of passage that will either turn you from a witcher apprentice to an actual witcher or kill you. And at 12 years old, it's your turn. The trial of the grasses is a series of alchemical mutations that transform a normal human into a witcher. It involves ingesting a combination of mutagenic compounds, extracts from rare herbs, and monster essence that fundamentally alter your biology. The process is excruciatingly painful and has a mortality rate of around 7 in 10. That means most boys who undergo the trial die. You trained for years knowing this was waiting for you. You watched the other boys train alongside you, becoming your friends, knowing that most of them will be dead before they even become teenagers. You're brought down to the laboratory. Beneath Caremore, it's a cold, stone-filled room with alchemy equipment and tables with restraints. They strap you down and give you the first mutagen, a foul-tasting liquid that burns your insides, going down within minutes. The pain spreads. It feels like your blood is boiling, like your bones are breaking and reforming, and like your eyes are melting. You scream until your throat is raw, then pass out from the pain. Once you wake up, they give you another mutagen, and the process repeats for days. And unfortunately, surviving the trial of the grasses isn't enough, because there's another trial waiting for you. The trial of dreams. They give you special mutagens that awaken and expand your senses beyond human limits. These mutations change you fundamentally. You begin to see in darkness, hear heartbeats from across the room, and smell things you never could before. But the process is so intense that most will lose their sanity or die before it's complete. When you finally wake up from this nightmare, everything has changed. Your eyes develop cat-like pupils that can see in near total darkness. Your reflexes become superhuman. You can react faster than any normal human. Your strength increases. Your bones become denser. Your metabolism changes so you can survive on less food and water, and can tolerate poisons that would kill any normal person. Your emotions become muted, not intentionally but as a side effect. You'll still feel things, but they'll be distant, controlled. You're also rendered completely sterile. Witches can't have children. This is a permanent side effect of the mutations. Out of the remaining 6 boys who were still alive when you began the trial, 2 survived. The other 4 died while strapped into the table. One boy's heart simply stops. Another's internal organs shut down. The third starts convulsing and doesn't stop until he's dead. The bodies are buried in the courtyard with all the other boys who died during previous trials. Normally you'd cry, but now you just feel nothing. You're a different person now, but hey, at least you also got some cool magic to make up for the psychological trauma. These powers are called signs. Simple combat magic that witches can cast with one hand. With Igni, you can create fire with your hands to burn your enemies. Queen creates a magic shield around you, while Art is a telekinetic force that can knock enemies back or even break doors. Urton lets you create magical traps that slow down monsters. And the final one, called Axie, lets you influence minds and calm hostile creatures. You also learn to create potions that are so toxic they would kill normal humans instantly. You can use them to heal wounds faster, accelerate your reflexes, or to increase your strength. But each one you drink makes you feel like your entire body is burning. If you drink too many of these potions, you'll poison yourself to death. Your training continues for several years, fighting against simulated monster attacks and preserved specimens, never live monsters, which would be far too dangerous to keep. You're also given the Witcher Medallion, a silver wolf's head on a chain. It vibrates in the presence of magic, serving as an early warning system. This medallion identifies you as a Witcher of the School of the Wolf. After surviving the trials and learning to use your new abilities, you still aren't a Witcher. At least not yet. You still need to pass the Trial of the Mountains. As your final test, you and the other surviving boys are sent to complete a dangerous journey. First, you need to swim through freezing lakes near Kenmore. Then you need to sneak through the caverns where an old Cyclops sleeps without waking him up, or he would crush you. After that, you need to climb Troll's Head while fighting angry rock trolls to finally get to a circle of elements where you activate your medallion to complete the trial, which honestly, after everything else you guys have been wasn't through as difficult as it sounds. You're even given a horse, the traditional armor of your school, and two swords, one made of silver to fight monsters, and one made of steel to fight men. You can finally start your own journey and travel wherever you want. You're expected to make your own way in the world, taking contracts to kill monsters and getting paid for it. But here's the problem. People hate witches, you see. Witches are mutants. You look human mostly, but things like your cat eyes give you away immediately. People are deeply uncomfortable around you. They think you're unnatural, that you're barely a human anymore. Parents tell their children stories about witches to scare them into behaving. The priest of the Church of the Eternal Fire calls you an abomination. Your first stop is in a nearby village, and you immediately feel the weight of every person's stare. People see you as a soulless murderer that's closer to a monster than a human. They'll only deal with you when they absolutely need something killed, and even then they'll treat you like a necessary evil. You continue and eventually find the village notice board, where you see that a local farmer wants you to investigate some monsters who have been stealing their grain and attacking travelers on the road. That sounds easy, so you take your contract and approach the farmer, telling him your standard fee. But here's your second lesson about being a Witcher. People are incredibly cheap, huh? Even though you're literally one of the few on the continent that could kill these monsters, people will try to negotiate your fees down to nothing. Most of them would rather risk their families being eaten by monsters than pay a fair price for professional monster hunting services. You end up accepting the contract for half of what you originally asked, because being picky means starving. And starving means being too weak for the next contract that might actually kill you. But hey, you got your first mission as a Witcher. That's a start. You start looking for clues of the monsters with your enhanced senses and find some tracks of what appears to be neckers. You track them down to their burrow and prepare for your first real fight as a professional Witcher. Neckers are only about 3 feet but tall, have claws like razors and teeth that look like needles that could easily rip you apart. They're individually weaker than most monsters, but they are pack hunters that use underground tunnels to surround their prey. The fight begins, and the monsters are way faster than you thought. Their claws tear your leather armor like paper, while they appear and disappear from hidden tunnels surrounding you in seconds. You have to use everything that you learn to fight. You use poison signs and every sword move you know. When you finally kill the last necro, you're covered in blood. It's mostly from them, but a lot of it is also yours. Congratulations! You survived your first mission as a Witcher, and you only nearly died in the process. But this is just the beginning of your long and painful career. Over the next few years, you take contract after contract, learning that life as a Witcher is basically just travel, isolation, and trying to remember which book contains the information you need to kill whatever is trying to eat you. This week you fight drowners, which are fish corpses that hide underwater and try to drag you down with their claws so they can eat you. You also save sheep on a farm from a griffin, a 10-foot tall monster that's half eagle, half lion, with talons that can punch through your armor. One contract to almost end your career. When you barely survive fighting a striker, a cursed woman transformed into a 7-foot creature with enough strength to break stone walls and speed that makes her nearly invisible in darkness. You fight with her all night, and you only win because the curse breaks at dawn. You survive all of this, but unfortunately, when you're not actively fighting monsters, life on the road isn't any better. You spend months traveling from village to village, sleeping under the stars or in dirty taverns where people whisper about you behind your back. Most of the time you're completely alone with just your horse for company. And even when you do interact with humans, it's purely for business. Finding work becomes harder than you thought, even though there's a lot of monsters out there. Almost no one has the money to pay, or they'd rather just hope that the local guards would deal with them. When you do find real work, clients try to negotiate your fees down, and some villagers won't even let you stay overnight, forcing you to camp after you've just risked your life saving them. Your reputation grows fast, but unfortunately the danger of your contracts does too, and you start facing enemies that could wipe out entire armies. You're hired to eliminate a legion that's been corrupting an entire forest, and when you finally find it, you understand why these ancient spirits are considered among the most dangerous monsters a witcher can face. They're massive 8 to 10 foot tall beings with a body made of twisted wood and moss, with a giant deer skull as a head. The legion doesn't just fight you directly, it also commands the entire forest, turning wolves into its guardians, summoning ravens to see all your movements, and causing roots to come from the ground to capture you. Fighting one of these feels like battling an entire ecosystem that wants you dead, but you really understand your limits when you face down a higher vampire. These creatures look completely human until they turn their hands into massive claws and move so fast it seems like they teleport from one place to another. They can also crush bones like they were nothing, turn invisible when they want, and on top of that they can almost never be killed. Only another high vampire or an extremely powerful witcher might truly destroy one in this fight. Your confidence is absolutely rocked when you realize that some monsters are simply beyond a witch's ability to handle. Sometimes winning means knowing how to run away and hope the creature doesn't follow you. The biggest problem with being a witcher is dealing with humans. Not every monster contract is actually a monster. Sometimes you arrive at a village to kill a beast and discover it's actually just a person cursed by magic, or sometimes there's no monster at all, just superstitious peasants looking for a scapegoat. You try to be neutral. Witches have a code: take payment, kill the monster. Don't get involved in politics. But neutrality is harder than it sounds. When war breaks out between Temeria and Nilfgaard, both sides try to hire witches as assassins. When you refuse, they both see you as an enemy. The years pass. You're 30 now, then 40, then 50. Witches age slowly. The mutations extend your lifespan considerably. You probably live for over a century if something doesn't kill you first. But that's really not as great as it sounds. Because everyone you might care about ages normally. You can never have real relationships. You're sterile, so that means no family. You're constantly traveling, so you don't have a permanent home. You're feared and hated, so that means no real friends outside of the other witches you meet. People have brief connections, then move on. You're also dealing with the emotional effects of the mutations. You still feel things: anger, satisfaction, affection, but they're muted. It's like experiencing emotions through a thick pane of glass. Some witches say this is a blessing, that it helps them do their job without hesitation. Others say it makes them feel hollow. By your 60s, you're a veteran. You've killed dozens of monsters, survived dozens of injuries that really should have killed you, and earned a reputation. People know your name. Not in a good way, but they know it. But you're also just tired. The constant travel, the injuries, the loneliness, it wears on you. Some witches retire to care more, spending their final years training the next generation of boys who'll probably die during the trial of the grasses. Others keep working until something finally kills them. You choose to keep working. You're 73 now, which is old for a human, but middle age for a witcher. You take a contract for a fiend, a massive antlered monster with hypnotic powers that's been killing travelers on a forest road. You track it for 2 days and finally corner it into a clearing. The fight is brutal, the fiend is strong, fast, and its hypnosis almost gets you twice. But you're experienced and you know what you're doing. You dodge its charge, roll under its legs, and drive your silver sword up through its chest. The fiend collapses. You're about to finish it off when you hear a noise behind you.